Hi, this is Dominic. What I want to do here is give you a quick video guide to pronunciation and IELTS. Cheekily, I've entitled it Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Pronunciation but Never Dared Ask. Actually, if you look below, you'll find the true title, DC IELTS, that's me, Very Quick Guide to Pronunciation. And that's all it is. It's a quick guide to show you why pronunciation matters in IELTS. I'm going to try and explain it to you like this. In writing and speaking, there are 4 grading criteria, all worth 25%. Have a look at this table. Writing, there's grammar. Speaking, the same. Writing, there's vocabulary. Speaking, the same. 25%, 25%. Writing, coherence and cohesion. Speaking, not quite the same, but something similar, fluency and coherence. The 4th criteria in writing, worth 25%, is task response, how you answer the question. Speaking, there is no task response, which is actually quite interesting. That means, provided you remain more or less on topic, it doesn't really matter if you answer the question. In speaking, there's something else which is worth 25%. Ta-da! It's pronunciation. Pronunciation is worth 25% of your score. So, very simple message, focus on improving it. And in a way, I could leave this presentation there. I think many people, and I'd include myself, don't pay enough attention to pronunciation. They should, and as a teacher, I should too. It is as important to your score as grammar and vocabulary and fluency and coherence. But let's look at a little bit of detail. What is pronunciation? This is a quick guide, so I'm going to keep this relatively simple. Different elements. Now, a lot of people think of pronunciation as just the sounds you make. And yes, indeed, the sounds you make, the sounds of the words, are a large part of pronunciation. It's important that the person listening to you is able to understand what you're saying. And to do that, you need to make the right sounds. But it's only a part. These other parts below are things I suggest you focus on and concentrate on, because in my experience, they are often ignored. Talking quickly through them, intonation. This is how your voice goes up and how your voice goes down. Using your voice like that changes the meaning of what you're saying and is a key part of pronunciation in English. Perhaps a more important part is stress. Stress is how you sound a word. Do you give it more emphasis or less emphasis? English is what we call a stress-timed language, which put very simply means how we stress a word affects the meaning of what we say. It is how we organise our spoken meaning in English. Other languages don't all work like that, and if you speak a different type of language, there may be a new skill for you to learn here. And final part is, speaking non-technically here, just joining words together. This is actually in many ways a part of stress. Some words we sound clearly, other words we don't sound particularly clearly, and we lump them together. And if you have difficulty listening to English and hearing and understanding, it will be because of this partly. We talk very quickly in parts of our sentence because we join words together, and then certain words, the key words, the words which give meaning, we say more clearly. Okay, again, moving quite quickly here, some key skills for you to think about. I want to give you a bit of detail anyway. These are sorts of things which the examiner will be listening for to see how well you are pronouncing English. One is weak forms. Weak forms is, if you like, the opposite of stress. We stress some things, but we don't stress other things. One thing we do not do in English is speak like this, where we say every word clearly. Some words we don't really stress, and that is a skill you may need to learn. Part of this is the schwa. The schwa is probably, almost undoubtedly, the most common sound in English. It is the sound we make when we don't stress a vowel, mostly. Quick example, look at these two words, affect and effect. In fact, we pronounce them both effect, or not effect, sorry, my mistake, affect. The is the schwa sound, so it's not affect, the a becomes and it's not effect, the e becomes And again, if you have problems listening and understanding to English, it may be because you get confused by the This is the sound of English in many ways. Another thing you'll probably be familiar with is contractions or short forms. Normally, typically, we don't say I will when we speak, we'll say I'll. It's just the way we do it. We run words together. But I'll make a quick point here. We don't always say that or do that. Sometimes we will use the long form. Listen to this. I'm saying different things. I'm using pronunciation to give meaning. I will do it, I'll do it. Now I hope you hear that when I say I will do it, I'm making a promise. I'm stressing the word will. Whereas the normal one, I'll do it, with no stress. Now, third key skill I'm going to chat about briefly is chunking and linking. This is something I've mentioned previously, briefly, where we group words together and we don't say all the sounds slowly and clearly. Obvious example for you here is something you probably learnt quite early on. We don't say do you want to, we say do you wanna. And what we're doing there, we're chunking those words together, we're treating them not as 4 words, do you want to, but really 1 word. Okay, still moving quickly. I want to keep this quite quick to keep the main points clear. Something I find quite useful in class, presenting pronunciation, is to think of pronunciation as meaning. How you say words changes what you say. The example I've already used, I'll do it and I will do it. I'm saying 2 different things by changing the pronunciation. The other one is a bit different. I quite like it and I quite like it. On the page, they look the same. But listen to my voice. I quite like it. I quite like it. I quite like it. I quite like it. Now, I hope you hear there that each time I say it, the meaning changes slightly because I'm using my voice. A bit of intonation going up, a bit of stress, sounding the word more. And one quick way to improve your pronunciation is simply to play with language. Try and say different things by using your voice. Same words, different meaning. Now, final slide here. How can you improve your pronunciation? I should say, first of all, it's a slow and tricky process, which is one reason why it perhaps doesn't get focused on enough. It's one of the hardest things to change. But here are some very general ideas to help you along. Step number 1, know that it's a problem, or know that it's important, 25%. Step number 2, focus on pronunciation sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Focusing your learning is one of the best ways to improve your learning. Focus on the skill, you'll improve it. Third, very general point, speak. You can't learn to speak better without speaking. This can be hard if you're living in a country where English isn't spoken, but you need to try and find ways to speak. Very simple suggestion here. One I've used myself in my own language learning is record yourself and listen to yourself. It's interesting listening to yourself because you may sound different to what you expect. And listening to yourself can be a good motivation, if nothing else, to improving the way you sound. The best way, of course, is to have someone to speak to, and this is find a model and copy it. The model is another person. This can be simply a speaking partner. It could be a teacher. But basic point I want to make here is pronunciation is improved by copying. It's a repeat and copy sort of exercise most often. This one comes with a question mark. It can help. Reading aloud. Reading aloud can help chiefly with the sounds of English, but it's a slightly dangerous one if you do too much of it, because reading is actually different from speaking. It's not nearly so good, in my experience, for helping to improve your intonation and stress. And final point is know your own problems. It's a simple fact that speakers of certain languages have certain typical problems in pronouncing English. The Japanese may have a problem with one sound. The Arabic speakers may have a problem with another sound. Other people may have a problem not with the sound, but simply the stress and the intonation. They may say everything too clearly. A very good way to improve your English, or the way you pronounce your English, is to know your problem and improve your problem. Okay, that's that. I hope it was helpful, my very quick guide to pronunciation and IELTS.